Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 7th, about 9:30 a.m. We're going to take a look at the aftermath of the fire. This is the origin of the fire. A barbecue grill. It started here and escalated. I tried to put it out with a fire extinguisher. It didn't work. I grabbed another fire extinguisher. That fire extinguisher didn't work. When I say this didn't work, I mean that it didn't work to put out the fire. Otherwise, it did work. On the other side is another fire extinguisher, also that was not functional. Right behind the grill was Troy-Bilt wood chipper. These two blobs of plastic once were 5-gallon containers of gasoline. The heat from the grill evidently was sufficient to melt these and ignite the fuel inside of them. Once that fuel ignited, the place just went up in flames. A couple weeks ago, I started clearing out the garage. It's a good thing I did. At the time, you couldn't hardly walk in here, much less park an automobile. I was planning to have a tag sale this coming weekend, so I organized the garage and the stuff I wanted to sell. Along this wall, you can see that there were a lot of implements of destruction: pickaxe, sledgehammer, shovels, and so on and so forth. Over here, I'd set up a table and displayed a bunch of flower pots and some terracotta. There are items underneath that are now blobs of melted plastic. And coming off of the corner of this shelf was another display shelf at a 90-degree angle. It was supported by two plastic sawhorses. There's one of them there, and the other one is here at my feet. It's gone. It's no longer here. It is on the other side of the garage. The fireman must have tossed it over there for some reason. In the corner, there's a snowblower. And you can see the walls, how black they are from the smoke. And if we look up, we get a clear view out the roof and the back of the building. The fire department cut that open in order to evacuate the smoke. Over here you can see there was a cement mixer. Up against the wall is a sheet of 1/2-inch plywood. Here in the corner you can see that there's a spot that hasn't been blackened with smoke. There was at the time a sheet of 1/2-inch particle board leaning up against the wall, and that sheet of particle board is now lying on the ground. I'm guessing that it was a flame when they cut open the back, and the fire department, one of the firemen kicked it over in order to extinguish it and stop the flames from climbing up the wall. Along this side of the building, it's a little dark, but I think you can see that there's another tool rack here that had a bunch of items hanging on it, including some extension cords. The extension cords have melted away, and now you can see the copper. were 3 lawn chairs, a weed whacker. This long plank was a work tabletop that I used placing it on sawhorses. I'd set the miter saw up there, or the table saw. This was a rack for storing plywood and panels. I built that, I don't know, 15 years ago probably. It was kicked over by the fire department. It was also aflame. You can see on this side that there were pieces of scrap plywood, some cherry, maple, and so forth. Underneath, you can see charred remains of some hardwood boards. Also over here, more charred remains. I had clear pine, cedar, cherry, poplar, maple in there. To the left, you can see that the grass caught on fire and burned. To the right, the same phenomenon. Let's take a look at the house. That's 35 feet away from the garage, and you can see that the siding melted there. You can see also the warped and melted siding here. It's hard to tell, but there may be some heat damage to the bottom row of shingles here. It may not show, but there's a crack in this pane of glass and a crack in this pane of glass. You can see here too where the flames spread to the compost pile. Fortunately, the firemen were able to extinguish that before it spread. We had probably 15, 20 mile an hour winds Saturday night when the blaze occurred. I was very fortunate that the fire didn't spread to other buildings. You should be able to see the charred floor joist here. There's the remains of a 28-foot aluminum extension ladder. There's a couple bundles of shingles. And there was various moldings and boards up here also. The rafters are charred. This is what it looks like throughout the entire structure. There's not a bit of wood in here that doesn't have fire damage of some sort.